Cam's not back yet, so Alley Cats have to stay bottom of B.
Okay.
That's just the
It's
way it
time
is.
for is it Ryan's lines?
It's time for Rhine's lines.
Let's do it.
Cam is
Um,
our Ryan today, though.
yeah, but you can at least read out our
Oh,
results
good point.
for the time being, and then if Cam's not back yet, we'll freak the fuck out.
I'm doing so bad at Ryan's lines this year, guys.
Did we get Dan Yacht's picks?
No, he didn't send me his picks this week, so
Oh,
Yeah.
tail between the legs.
Wow. He stays with only
Wow.
2 correct picks for the year.
well,
Oh, we're gonna keep track.
All right.
Not gonna let him forget.
So we have Soul -5.5. Congratulations only to myself.
woof.
Oof.
We have a Seattle Oakland pick'em. Congratulations only to Ryan Anderson.
Ooh.
Shit.
We all got those wrong. We have Shred -10.5.
Oh,
Huge line. Congrats to Alu. Congrats to Ryan of Ryan's Lines.
thank
All
fucking
right.
God.
We have Union -10.5. Congratulations to the Ryans. That
Damn it.
is embarrassing.
Why would you pick Detroit to cover? That's insane, though. I still feel okay
You did.
about being wrong.
You did take Detroit to cover.
Or sorry.
Opposite.
The three of
That's the
us
opposite of
all.
what I meant.
Yeah.
Why would I have faith in Detroit? I feel stupid.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I also feel dumb. All
Yeah.
right, so we got Glory -5.5. So congratulations to Sam, to Alu, to Joe, and to Ryan Anderson.
These lines have
Uh,
been pretty decent, except that is, I mean, Rush. I mean, did anyone watch this game? What the fuck happened?
no, I have no idea.
Well, Rush got kind of shitted on.
Oh, sorry, I'm texting
Uh,
Cam. I wasn't listening.
we've we've got Summit -4.5. Congratulations again to only Ryan Anderson for picking the Cascades.
Damn, Cascades believer, Ryan
You guys are
Yeah,
Anderson.
smoking us.
yeah. Empire -4.5. Congratulations only to Sam.
Oh, Sam,
Woo!
you dirty dog.
uh, Shred -5.5. Congratulations to Sam, to
Yes.
Alu, and to Ryan Anderson. Breeze -5.5. Congratulations to me and Ryan Anderson. And those are all the games.
These are
All
good
right, Cam
lines. I
is
mean,
back.
it felt even
Ooh.
this week.
Oh, sorry, you missed all my thoughts on the cats. Oh man.
Yeah, we left them bottom B. It's a done deal.
Yeah, I think until we actually play a game, which we play against Detroit this week, so I'm sure
So I have to
there's
wait
nothing
another week.
there's nothing we can do this week that would move us up. Yeah, it's like we could only move down. Nothing would move us up.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got Atlanta at home the week after that.
That'll be a
So
big one.
if there's a mover, that's the game right there.
Are y'all playing inside this year?
We are probably our last year there. And hopefully, if all goes well, be moving to it's actually a stadium we played in 2013 and 2014 that's being renovated. It's really close to downtown Indy. Like you can almost throw a rock there. So it's a much better location in terms of like getting people there. It's more centralized. And then of course there's all the stuff you can go downtown right afterwards if you want to and hit up any number of places down there. So pretty excited about that opportunity. I actually like playing outdoors. So I don't like playing outdoors early in the season because you can sometimes get some stupid weather in Indiana. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right, I have the final standings from week 2. Um,
Is
Ryan
this
went
from week 2 or through week 2?
from week 2, and then I'll give the overall.
Okay,
Ryan
cool.
went 2-7. All
Oof.
three of us went 3-6,
Oof.
and then Ryan Anderson went 6-3.
Ugh.
Ooh,
So congrats, Ryan Anderson, on a good picks.
Damn, we suck ass.
Yeah,
We
we're
just all picked
dog water.
against Seattle, and he picked Seattle. So in last place, we have Dan Yacht at 2-7. Then we have Alu at 6-12. Kind of
Oh.
tied with Ryan Anderson at 6-3. Um, then we have Ryan at 7-11. We have Sam at 8-10, and we have myself at 9-9.
Wow.
Rough. Good
Congrats.
lines, but rough.
Yeah,
Rough picks.
rough. All right. Ryan's lines, week 3.
Week 3. All right, Cam, how do you feel about setting all these lines?
Oh, I have to set the line. I thought Ryan set them already.
I thought
Okay.
we asked him to.
I will set the lines. Sure.
You also don't have to. We could rotate setting lines and then just all make picks. Whatever you
Well,
want to
if
do.
I do it, then you can all just be mad at me afterwards. So instead of at each other, I want to create a loving, peaceful atmosphere amongst the ringer the guys. So
All right, that works for us. Common enemy.
All right, first game, Boston going to DC. This is always hard when we don't have rosters yet either. So I'm just going to assume full strength for all these games, unless I know otherwise. So I will say DC minus -1.
Ooh.
I don't want to quite go 1.5 on this. I think it's DC -1. And I am taking Boston.
Damn.
I do think DC is the favorite being at home. They are expected to, I believe, have Jasper, Tom, and Bloodgood and Rowan all there. So they should be at full strength to my knowledge. If Boston's down some guys, it could be dicey. But if they're at full strength, I think Boston can do it. But I still think the line is for DC -1.
Gotcha. I think I'll roll with DC. Just because Joe, if you'll be there, I trust you'll bring them the best home atmosphere in the league.
I will be on a plane,
Oh
unfortunately.
shit. Well, picks locked in. I am bummed though. I can't watch this game live at least. That's gonna be a good one.
I'm so torn. I really want to take the push, but I think I only want to do it because I really like taking the push, which means I should probably take the breeze.
Well, now I'm nervous because it's all three of us taking the breeze, but I just
Push.
I feel like
Take the push.
historically, I'm not gonna take the push. I feel like historically Boston hasn't traveled super well.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern.
I think maybe like with the leadership from like Babbitt and them kind of, so far as we've seen, like kind of being real deal, maybe there's more buy-in, maybe there's more, people, I don't know. I'm just speculating. But I also just think DC really had a get right game last week. So, and they're at home. So even though Joe's
All
not
right.
going to be there, I like DC.
That works. And then are we making Ryan pick opposite us, or is Ryan picking with Cam?
I believe Ryan said I was picking for him, so we'll just say that my picks are Ryan's picks.
Okay, sweet.
Right.
Perfect.
Wait, Ayla, you took the breeze?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, we got some fiery West Coast action up next.
Portland plus 7.5.
No way.
What, you think that should be bigger?
Portland plus 7.5.
And,
Spiders minus 7.5.
Or Spiders minus 7.5, however you want to phrase it. I was going with all the home teams. I don't know how you're supposed to set lines, but
Ryan does the favorite, and I think
Okay.
if you don't, Andrew will get really confused.
I'm so confused. Okay, you're saying that Portland loses. You're saying that Portland loses by at least 7.5.
Yeah, so essentially
it's
the way the
Spiders
line
minus
works,
7.5,
the way
buddy.
the lines work, you are subtracting or adding to a team's
We've
total
tried.
to make it even. So okay, I will go with the favorite then. Oakland minus 7.5.
Thank you.
You're
That is a big line, and I've made my money in Ryan's lines at least last year by taking advantage of some big lines and picking bad teams to cover. I'm not going to do that this time though. I'm going to take Oakland because I've been trying to do that and I've been doing horribly. So I'm calling a blowout, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you, Andrew. I'm gonna stay away from the nitro by any means necessary.
Who's the nitro? I mean Gorpus.
Corpus.
I'm there's no way I can take the nitro. No, give me the Spiders. I think Gorpus is ridiculous.
It's not a bad line by any means. Like it's a big. I don't feel good about it. Like
I am going to take Portland to cover.
Damn.
Ryan's gonna be so mad.
He's gonna be so
We'll
mad
see.
until
Could be
yeah, I
so
was gonna
happy.
say,
I
is he
see
gonna
that
be mad?
happening. I can see that. That's a big. Like, do the Spiders really have like that blowout
Here's the
I
thing.
on the
We
road?
quite
I don't know.
know that they'll
literally
turn the
could not
disc
see
over.
that happening.
We know that Oakland's going to turn the disc over because it's what they do. They don't know how to play possession-based ultimate, so it's going to lead to just more turnover. So even if it's like a very lopsided game, to win by 8 when you're a team that turns the disc over a lot is pretty hard to do. San Diego beat Portland by 7.
Okay.
I think San Diego is not
Yeah. That's
too
a
far
good.
away
Yeah.
in our level to Oakland, so that's kind of where I came up with the line.
Yeah.
Solid.
I like that logic.
Big
Now I feel
game.
worse about my pick.
All right, we
That's
got
why I waited to explain it until after you picked.
I
smart,
honestly,
very smart.
that explanation made me feel
Dastardly.
better about my pick, actually.
I'm gonna go Carolina. So this is in Carolina. I'm gonna say Carolina minus 2.5.
Ooh.
That's really good.
I think conventional wisdom is to take Carolina here, so I'm gonna go hustle because I feel like I don't know. I just felt like I went with the conventional wisdom with the hustle and the Flyers so far this year, and it's not been working out with me with these teams specifically. So I'm gonna say I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna say I actually am like gonna be wrong with what I think in my gut. So I'm gonna go hustle.
So you said minus 2.5?
Yep.
You know, I think if it were last week, if it were last year, I would take Hustle, but I've been so wrong. I really think Hustle. I'm high on them. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Carolina because that's the opposite of what I think. Kind of similar to Joe's logic,
Fair enough.
but opposite pick.
I'm gonna go with Atlanta because that is what I think.
I'm gonna go with Carolina on this. I think at home, they probably are gonna feel pretty good going into this game. They were missing a couple people too. They might I can't remember off the top of my head who they were missing, but they might have some extra guys coming in. I'll take Carolina to win by 3 or more. So,
All right.
Boston at Philly, second day. Philly looking real bad. I have the hardest time believing they'll look that bad again, but I also don't have a lot of confidence. I mean, they literally changed their whole offensive game plan like in the second quarter. They started switching their lines up already, which tells me there's not a lot of confidence. I don't know. I have so many questions. So I'm going to
Mhm.
set this line fairly big, not quite to the 12 goals they lost by. Let's say Boston minus 4.5.
Mm.
And I will take Boston.
I'm
I'm
gonna also
also
take yeah.
yeah. I'm on board with Boston there.
The rare, or not, I guess I don't know how rare this is, but this is their second road game.
Yep.
but it's a Saturday, so they do a Friday Saturday road trip, which is
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
that's what Seattle did this past weekend and Salt Lake. They both did Friday,
Oh
Saturday
yeah,
road
yeah. It was
trips.
weird. There's only one Sunday game this week. Just the
I was
Breeze
so excited about it too. I was
Phoenix
like,
game.
oh, Phoenix
I
Breeze,
know.
like you get all the attention on that one game. That just made it worse for them.
Yeah, yeah.
They crumbled under the pressure.
They
Yeah,
really did.
I mean, I have no reason to pick Philly, which is, that's how the lines get you. But I'm going to go Boston. I just believe
Sweet.
in them more. I have a hard time picking Philly right now.
Yeah, totally fair.
A clean sweep.
Madison, Pittsburgh. This is Madison's first game of the season. Pittsburgh looked pretty terrible against Minnesota. Their D line was just like non-existent. Their O line couldn't hold the disc. Um, Madison, we have no idea what we're getting. We don't know how good Kai Marcus and KPS are going to look coming back from ACLs. And losing Jacob Ruby Miller and Henry Goldenberg was two huge losses for them. It's a long road trip too from Madison to Pittsburgh. I'm gonna say, gosh, Pittsburgh minus a half a goal.
Yeah,
Ooh,
It's a pick 'em.
it sounds about right. I'm gonna go with the Thunderbirds at home, I think.
I went Thunderbirds at home to do something special, and I think in week one, and I felt so stupid for that. So I'm good. I'm going to pick Madison. Plus, actually, Cam, I'm a little curious your thoughts on this. When we did our take chart,
Mm-hmm.
I had like my hot take, but like stupid take
Mm-hmm.
was Madison third playoff spot in the Central.
Yes, I loved that episode by the way. I thought it was hilarious. I think it is a stupid, kind of a hot, stupid take, but with the caveat that if there is a team that's going to take the third spot that's not Chicago, Madison would be the next team I would pick. So I do think there is a clear gap between the top three and bottom three teams in the Central. But we saw Madison hang around in a lot of games last year that maybe they shouldn't have, or you wouldn't think they would have. Can they overcome that this year with a couple guys back? But I don't know. Maybe I would say it wasn't the dumbest take on there. Let me put it that way.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
We take
it's
those.
feasible. I could see it happening. I just don't think it's likely. I'd give it like a 10% chance. But hey,
Okay, I don't hate that.
that's not nothing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do a hot take, that's not the worst odds in the
Yeah.
world.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
taking Madison, by the way, in the pick'em. I'll take Madison.
Okay. Yeah. I was purposefully waiting to see what you would say. Because I didn't really know who to take here. Um, I actually still don't know who to take here.
I
I'm
mean,
just
Max
taking
Shepard.
Madison just because honestly, it's just because I haven't seen them play and I did see Pittsburgh play, and I think I'm just it was
Yeah.
they had every opportunity. Minnesota got into Pittsburgh at like midnight and had to play at like a 1 p.m. game and was down Will Brandt first game without Abe Coffin. Like they were down like three other players. Like if there was ever an opportunity for Pittsburgh to like win that game, that was it. And they just did nothing. So
Or even not lose by 10 or however much they lost by.
it was 18-11 and they had
Okay.
zero breaks in the game. So
So they only lost by 7.
I'm going Rascals.
yeah.
I'm
All right.
going Rascals.
I think the line was already set for the mechanics game, right? Didn't I see that?
Yeah, in the interest of
14 and a half.
yeah, keeping you
Woo!
impartial, I just went ahead and, and called it Cats by 14 and a half.
I think solely for the fact, so I'm thinking more what would Ryan pick here because I don't like picking against the spread in my own games. So
Yeah,
I'm
you probably
purely going
shouldn't.
like this is not Cameron Brock talking on behalf of myself, but more on behalf of Ryan. I think he would say like especially based on what we saw last week, I think he would say we will cover this. So I'm gonna go ahead and say cover the Cats for Ryan's pick.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were texting you about how you were gonna shave some points here, and we'll wire you the money later.
I'm going Cats. I'm not ever gonna pick the
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Knicks
Like I
again.
picked Detroit to cover a big line last week. It didn't go well for me, so I'm taking Cats too.
I picked Detroit to cover, but this line's bigger than that last one, I believe. So, but also I think the Cats are much better, and it's at home, indoors. But they kind of gave you
Just
guys
think
a
if
scare
the
last
Cats
year at
can
home.
score 30 at home, which they can do you think
Yeah,
Detroit can score more than 15 points in any circumstance?
it's also a different Detroit team. You know, they don't have
We took their best players.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, ooh, I'll
We
go
took their
Cats.
best
Fuck
players,
it.
and then the rest of them retired.
Fuck it. Cats.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah.
It's a rough off season for Detroit.
Yeah.
Montreal. I'm gonna say Montreal minus 3.5. I think they looked like Toronto looked really bad. Um, they had some moments against Boston, but they didn't look good. And Boston was actually down a lot of people. Like it was kind of I didn't know what was going to happen that game. I think Montreal looks like they can play with teams. You know what? I don't like that line. I'm going to move it down. Montreal minus 2.5.
Okay.
Just because Montreal hasn't won a game yet. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
giving them too much credit, but like I do feel good about them. I think Toronto and Philly right now look the worst in that division. So
Yeah. I want to pick Montreal. They like you said, they have looked really good. I'm excited to see them like actually win a game by a bunch of goals, and I think that could definitely be this week.
This is when they get the win. Toronto kind of got blown out by Boston last week. I don't know. I always want to think that Toronto is better than they are. Um, and it just doesn't really work out for me. So I'm going with Montreal.
I don't like agreeing so much, but
I know we are.
Toronto really didn't look very good. And I mean, just transitive property against Boston. Like
yeah.
Montreal wins this game by 3. So I think I got to go
Yeah,
Royal.
there is something to be said for a team like learning how to win a game. That's like kind of my hang up with not
Yeah.
setting that line bigger. I feel like I can't
Yeah.
give you too big of a line if you haven't won a game in more than a calendar year. So,
Yeah. Agreed.
That's valid.
Austin, Dallas. I'm gonna say Austin minus 12.
Ooh.
Just to be clear, you took Montreal. You and
I
Ryan took
did,
Montreal
yes,
also.
yes. Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna take
Austin
the
minus.
push. I'm gonna take the push. I'm gonna take the push.
I was
I
really
like that
tempted to
line.
also. I'm glad you
If
Sam,
you
did.
hit the
do it with me.
if you hit the push, you should get like do you get like bonus points? You should.
Everybody else is not allowed to speak for the next episode, and I get to make all the lines and choose who they decide to to take. But if I'm wrong, I'm not allowed to pick anything next week, and they get to pick for me.
Ooh, I like that.
Pretty brutal stakes, honestly. I don't think
Yeah,
it's worked out yet.
it's no. I think we're over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually go with Dallas.
Okay.
Um, just because I don't know. I could see it being 8 to 10. It's definitely not going to be a game, but just kind of playing the numbers there.
Um, so to me, Houston's beaten. Okay, again, I think you get into dangerous territory trying to use the transitive property, especially with Dallas and Houston. But Houston beat Dallas in week 1. Feel for some reason like Houston is a better team than Dallas. Um, and then the Soul beat Houston 25-14, who I think is better than Dallas. So I'm going to take Soul to cover just because I'm a lower if I'm lower on Dallas than I am on Houston, then I kind of have to take
Mhm.
Austin here, you know?
Makes sense.
That that Dallas Houston game in week 1, like, was brutal to watch. There were
I did
moments,
not watch it.
there
For the
were
record.
moments in that game where I mean, it looked like it was fairly windy, but there were just moments in that game where I was like, what am I watching? Like, just people like dropping discs that are thrown straight at them, like throws that have no business going up from both sides. It was just like no discipline from either team. It was Eeks. John Shelley, who defected from Houston to Dallas the first time he touched the disc in the game, threw
Mhm.
a Callahan, and
Yeah,
then
that's rough.
threw a second Callahan later in the game.
Oh my
So
God. How did I miss that?
that's a real feels bad. Like, you go from Houston to Dallas and throw two Callahans to your former team. It's ugh. I'm
That's
taking
crazy.
Austin. I'm gonna take Austin. I think they looked so good against Houston. I know this game's on the road, but Dallas looked. I mean, they looked like the worst team against Houston. And Austin just looks like they've kind of stepped their game up and are they're not going to mess around in these games like they did last year. I think they go in there and just hammer Dallas.
Beat Houston by 11. This might be the week the push hits.
I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I just did have a thought. Like, last year when we saw that Austin kind of came out a little bit flat. They won, I think, their season opener last year against Houston, but like they looked kind of shaky. Like Houston was actually giving them a game.
Hmm.
I wonder if like there's something different about like actually making championship weekend and then kind of getting shellacked by the Empire and then kind of like seeing how much better they have to be like getting that real competition and like a real loss and then
Hmm.
being like, oh fuck, like we thought we were like hot shit and then we got like shat on by the Empire. Maybe that's like kind of changed the tone of how they approach some of these games this year. Um, so I don't know that I think that maybe had an effect on them.
There's definitely, yeah, I'm sure it did. Honestly, like, I can tell you, like, knowing Steven Najee, like, he was thrilled to make it to championship weekend, but I bet you Saturday or Friday night after they lost, I bet you he was a mess because he had every intention of winning that game. And so and they kind of they ride with Najee, man. It's awesome. Like, Najee's former teammate of mine, like, love that guy. I think he's doing awesome stuff down there in Austin, and they totally buy in. They just go with him, and he's a little crazy, and I think he's like the perfect person to be the coach there. So I think you're right, though. I think
Yeah,
they
we all
took it
love
to
him too.
heart. They definitely looked like they took it to heart in that first game for sure.
I will
Yep.
say, seeing him after that loss that night, he was very sad, especially to shave that beard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Love that guy.
Okay, Minnesota at Chicago. I'm pretty excited about this one. I hope Chicago has everyone. I don't think they're going to have Joe White in this game. I'm going to assume not. I think he's not going to be playing till later in the season. Um, but I'm hoping they have like Jeff Weiss there. He wasn't there in Detroit. Let's see, I'm gonna set the line at Minnesota minus. The crazy thing is Minnesota like lost to Chicago last year, and Chicago was like hot garbage. Like, I couldn't believe, and it was at home too. They just like Chicago just plays them really well. It doesn't really matter who's on their roster. But I think Minnesota still needs to be the favorite here. So let's go Minnesota minus 2.5, and I will take Minnesota to cover, but I'm not super confident in that.
Give me the
Okay.
Union. I'm pencil me in as a wind chill. I don't want to say disbeliever, but disbeliever that they're the outright favorite to win the Central.
Uh, I don't really know what to think about the wind chill, honestly. They kind of confuse me because they lost against Salt Lake at championship weekend, but they just like looked like a different team. They just kind of ratcheted it up a notch. They impressed me a lot. But earlier in that season, they were kind of inconsistent. They're a little all over the place at times, so I don't really know what to think. I'm always like generally high on them. Um, they have good players. I don't really know what to think about Chicago. I feel like we haven't really seen like, you know, what this team's going to be this year. Um, so this line's tricky for me. Oh man. I'm gonna go Chicago just to go against my gut again. Or maybe that is in a way with my gut. I don't know. But I'm going Chicago. Ben Priest.
Nice. I'm excited to see John Lithia play in Chicago. Um, but I'm gonna go with Minnesota also. I think they might be sort of a level up still.
Be curious to see how they look against a team that I pick. Chicago does have a better defense than Pittsburgh for sure. So I'll be curious to see what their O line looks like against them. Like we only play Minnesota one time this year and it's at home. So like that's pretty huge for us. Obviously, like going to Seafoam Stadium sucks. So uh if we beat them at home, it gives us a huge advantage in our playoff positioning, especially because we also have so Minnesota plays Chicago 3 times. We play Detroit 3 times. So we definitely got the
Oh,
better end of the scheduling. They also have to play Colorado and New York. I think it's kind of a push. We play Atlanta in Colorado. Actually maybe not push. It's really advantage them with the way New York's roster ended up shaking out. 'Cause they play both those games at home, and we have to play Colorado in Colorado.
Mhm.
But
that'll be fun.
it will be fun. Get to hang out with Ryan.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
that's
So
actually
it's
awesome.
it's July 4th weekend if y'all want to make a trip out. So
Oh,
Oh
Think about it.
man.
ooh.
yeah, so pretty excited. And then I'll be out at Salt Lake this year for Champ Weekend as a player, of course, but even if I'm not as part of the media. So I will maybe if y'all are planning on going to Champ Weekend again, I shall see you there.
I
Hell
think it's
yeah.
definitely on I think it's on the table. It's definitely on the table.
All right, last game. Oakland, second game of the weekend, in Seattle. Seattle just beat them in Oakland, so now we get Seattle at home. Also, Seattle was without Lucas Ambrose in that game against Oakland. He only played Saturday against Colorado and did not play against Oakland. Um,
Interesting.
so he had 4 blocks in their first game of the season against San Diego. Um, Still looking real good. I'm gonna set the line at Seattle. Let's see, minus 3.5.
Hmm. I'll go
Seattle's
Seattle.
covered
I'll
three
go Seattle.
times already.
Yeah, I'm kind of done picking against Seattle right now. You know, I've been wrong every time I picked against them. They just beat Oakland, and now they play them at home. Oakland's second game of the weekend. Yeah, this is a Seattle for me. And watch me be wrong.
I don't know. This last game was only a 1 point game. I get that this one is in Seattle, but you got to think that Oakland feels like they might need to win this game if they want to be that third team in the playoffs. They might come into this with like a chip on their shoulder a little bit. But
Back
are
to
they?
backs though.
Yeah, but all they have to do is lose by 3. I think I have to go Oakland.
All
I
right.
think Seattle wins this game. And I think Oakland covers.
Going
Yeah.
Seattle. I think Seattle wins this game by 4+. Um, Honestly looked like they were going to win the game on the road by 4+, and then they just kind of, I don't know, just kind of piddled their lead away. I will say this, Khalif El Salam, and I give him a little bit of credit for this because I saw on Twitter, like he kind of like basically called himself out for just not being as good as he needed to be in Colorado. I think he had 5 throwaways in that game,
Yeah.
and a couple of them were just kind of like lazy, not stepping out. I'm sure those types of things usually are due to like fatigue. which second game in 2 days, second game of a back-to-back in the altitude, you're midway through a game. I'm sure like your body's feeling it at that point. Um, but I do love when a player who has the spotlight on him, like Khalif does, like whether he wants it or not, which I think he likes it. I think it's pretty clear he likes the spotlight, but um, I do love when people who have the spotlight also like take accountability for when they screw up because, you know, not everyone does. I think he's gonna I think he's gonna go off in this game. I think he's gonna look at his last game and be pretty pissed about it, honestly. And I think it's just gonna fuel like kind of one of those games where he just really goes off. So this is gonna be a big Khalif Al Salam game. I'm gonna say he's gonna be like plus 7, +8, somewhere in that range, and he's just gonna be running things for Seattle in this game. Zeppelin Ronig's probably gonna have another 5 goals because that's just what he's doing this year. He's just putting up numbers. And here's a fun fact: Garrett Martin and Zeppelin Ronig individually have more goals scored than Detroit and Philadelphia do as a team.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There are two guys. Now, granted, they've played 3 games, but we're talking about individual players that have more goals scored than 2 teams have scored in a single game at this point.
Cam, can you put up 13 in your first game? You got Detroit.
Uh, that probably means I will put up less goals. I can't score if I'm not on the field, and if our
Fair. Yeah.
D line, I have a lot of confidence in our D lines this year. I'm really excited. We're gonna have a lot of new players playing in this game. Usually, I don't like starting off with Detroit because we've started a lot of seasons with Detroit, and it's like we win, and then it's just like okay, but now we have to go play a better team and feel kind of unprepared. But like last year, we had to start in Atlanta with like 8 players playing their first AUDL game ever. And it was just like, that's also not an ideal situation. You don't want the first game nerves to also be against one of the best teams in the league. So I hope for a lot of our guys who are going to be playing their first game, it's like they get those first game nerves out against, let's just call a spade, against the worst team in the league.
In the history of sports.
In the history, yeah, in the history
As
of
far as we can tell.
So hopefully that allows some of those nerves to be worked out. And then when we get to that second game where we're hosting Atlanta, there's still going to be nerves 100%. Like I still get nervous before every game, but then it's just like toned down a little bit. It's not, everything's not brand new at that point. It's, you've got at least one game of experience under your belt. So, I just hope we win. If I don't score a single goal, that's fine. Just win, survive, and advance to the next game. And the goal is, our goal is to win, to host the playoffs. Like the playoffs need to run through Indy. That's our goal. So that starts with beating Detroit this weekend if we want to make that happen.
Love that.
Awesome.
Love
Well said.
Love, yes, very well put. Very very media trained these days, Cam. A nice breath of fresh air for our usual programming on this podcast.
Hey,
But
I will talk all the crap about anyone outside of our division that I don't have to play against, but I'm not one to try to give any added motivation to any other team. So I'll wait and talk my stuff afterwards if I can, I guess. But like, yeah.
We'll certainly have you
Yeah.
on to do that. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Sorry we did. Well, I'm not sorry we went long. It's your fault for ranting about the Empire for so long, but
It is
thanks
my
for
fault.
staying long with us.
I don't.
That was
Yeah,
awesome.
no.
We're going to clip that. I cannot wait to get that out there.
You know what? I hope someone from the Empire sees it and maybe it lights a fire into them. But like, I call it how I see it. Like I try to end if I'm gonna go in on somebody, like I better have like some video evidence to back it up, you know? So I don't know. If someone on the Empire wants to get mad about what I said, like tell me where I'm wrong. I don't know. Show me that I'm wrong because I don't think you can right now. Maybe you can show me like a few weeks from now, but like that still won't make what I said right now wrong. So
I don't think you said anything that's like not based in what we've seen in the games. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really sure how to feel, but like you were pretty convincing. Like I don't think you said anything necessarily like mind-blowingly like, out there or like spicy even. Like you were just kind of calling it how it was. Which you know, I feel like I'm just I've seen them win so many games, so I'm just like not gonna be the guy to go out there and do it. But you know,
yeah.
you're a real frisbee player with real like analysis and opinions. So
I
um
think people are having a hard time coming to grips with it because they just like they look at the roster and like, well, they only lost 3 guys. Like, but I mean, would you let's put it into another team sport where so we have 20 people who are rostered in a frisbee game. Let's look at the NFL, which if we want to take offense and defense, 22 players, right? I know that there's different formations and people come in and out, but let's just for the sake of argument, let's say 22 players are like the ones you're concerned about. If the Chiefs go into next year without Patrick Mahomes and Jason Kelsey, sorry,
Travis.
Travis Kelsey. I was
Yeah.
like, that's the wrong Kelsey. If they go without Jason Kelsey, that would be normal because he does not play for them. Without Travis Kelsey and without um Chris Jones, you would be like,
Hmm.
well, yeah, the Chiefs are screwed. Like they're not gonna go to the playoffs. Like they're not gonna win. They're not gonna have a chance at the Super Bowl, right? So I don't see why people can't look at the sport the same way. Like it's if you want to say, oh, well, their defense is still full of playmakers. Okay. Well, if we took, say, a team that was really good on both sides of the ball, I don't know, the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Their defense was better than their offense last year, right? But if you took their quarterback, their leading pass catcher, and then one person off their defense away, which Benyat has moved from defense to offense, so essentially taking a piece away from their defense, would you not say, yeah, that team's screwed? There's no way they might not even make the playoffs, let alone go win a Super Bowl,
They
right?
lost Ben. They lost Ben Katz too.
That's the
And
thing, right?
if their offense isn't looking good enough, and they're moving JR over to O line, that's it's a big hit to the D line as well.
Yeah. So I think like why can't Frisbee people look at it in the same way? Because like Oscar, for all intents and purposes, is Patrick Mahomes. He is the quarterback, and you take Babbitt away, that is the leading receiver on the team. You take Ben Katz away, who is, he's your I don't know, your nickelback. Like he's your covering that he's like the best nickelback in the league, right? Like you can draw all these comparisons and you'd be like, yeah, if you took that off of any NFL team, you would be like, that team's screwed. Like we're not even considering them anymore. But for some reason, I think it's just because they've won all the games, like, right? And we keep talking about how great the team is, but like every time you take a player away, everyone on that team has to adjust their role. And you just took 4 very important pieces away from that team. And that means there's a lot of role shifting going on. And maybe they figure it out later in the season, but you can't figure out becoming more athletic and faster. Like that, you can't do that in the middle of a season. That's off season work, and we're too late for that at this point.
Hmm.
damn. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm with you. It's, we'll see how it plays out. I'm really curious. But yeah, I I hope I do better at Ryan's lines this week than I did last week. I'll say that.
Dude, me too.
Um, that won't
Me
be
too.
There
the
was a
bar's
lot
pretty
of
low.
agreement, so I guess if it's bad, it's going to be bad for everyone. So take some
Yeah.
solace in that. But I think I was alone on a couple of picks, so Ryan's either going to thank me for that or be really
Mhm.
mad at me for that next week.
Ryan will be furious. Have you seen that guy when he's angry? Oh my God. He's got problems.
I hope it doesn't ruin his date. He's like watching. He's like somehow watching
Just like
incognito right
listening
now,
in,
and
yeah.
he is just like so pissed. His date's like mad that he's just looking at his phone the whole time. He's just like cursing under his breath.
He's just going like, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Nitro. What the fuck?
Yeah.
God, I could so see that. All right.
I'm
I'm
open.
open. I'm
I'm
open.
open.
I'm
I'm
open.
open.
Thanks for joining, Kim.
Thank you.